Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. Special coverage of the late pick 4 at Oak Tree at Pleasanton on Saturday afternoon. $30,000 guaranteed in this pool. Races 8 through 11. We will begin with a maiden special weight, 5 furlong 2-year-olds. It's a public handicapper's nightmare when you're making selections 24, 48 hours in advance. We don't have access to the all-important tote board.
And that's, I would suggest anyone playing the sequence, keep an eye on where the early money comes from. Also, anyone in the area, go out to Pleasanton. I know I always say it every time. It's fantastic. One of my favorite tracks. I have one horse in here that I would stand on pretty heavily, I think. It's the 3, Illman. Owned and trained by Greg James. This is a horse, the 42 buyer, far and away of the 3 horses that have run the fastest last out. You also factor in the blinkers go on. The dam herself was 2 for 7 as a 2-year-old. The 3rd place runner in the career debut for this horse, in which horse this ran 2nd, came back to win next out with a 59 buyer. I'm going to be stunned if any of these horses runs north of a 50. I think Illman is a confident stand for me.
Wow, Illman, a confident stand. You're using the 3, the 5, and the 6s as backups. Talk about the 5, El Chavo del Ocho, coming into this race off a bullet workout.
The interesting thing with this one is I may be making a mistake only using one of the Quinn Howie entrants in here, but I just kind of felt like you look and see, you got that gate drill in 35 and change. You go back to the 5/8 drill. That was the one that at least caught my attention at Golden Gate, and 101 and change. 101 and change, 5/8 at Golden Gate. That's a pretty zippy move, you know. I mean, it's not like we're breaking land speed records, but I want to see, particularly with these type of horses, first time out, do you have a little bit of ability? I think he's a little interesting.
I had to go 4 deep in this race, and I had to use them all as A's. Illman is one of them. I agreed with everything you said. I think the 4 Jack's Masterpiece is certainly bred to sprint. Smiling Tiger, I think this is his first crop. He was a pretty fast horse. This dam was a stakes winner going 6 furlongs at Solano. Hernandez takes the mount. There are some good signs there. I think of the first-time stars, I'm most interested in the number 6, Sojourn, who's by Good Journey. This dam was a multiple stakes winner and can step a little bit. This trainer is very solid, had a 2-year-old debut winner last year at Pleasanton, and wins with first out runners. I'm going to use Sojourn. And the 8 Cash Limit, the other Quinn Howie I'm going to use. He's a half-to a horse named Cash Prize, who was a 2-year-old debut winner in Stakes Place. The dam's a half-sister to a horse that made $700,000 from the family of the Tin Man. Also seems to be working quickly. So 3, 4, 6, 8 for me. The 3 is your main A with the 5, 6 as backups.
And you know, you brought up the outside runner. I've been maybe making the mistake of cutting him out, the other piece of the Quinn Howie duo that go out. But you brought up Sojourn. I think Sojourn is really interesting, not only because of the stakes winning side with the dam, but the dam was very precocious in her own right. She was 2 for 7 as a 2-year-old as well.
Race number 9 is the second leg of this $30,000 guaranteed late pick 4 at Oak Tree at Pleasanton on Saturday. 5.5 furlongs. It's a claiming event. $3,200 the tag for 3 and up, which have not won a race in 2017. The number 1, 6 votes, is getting a little bit of class relief with speed. He is not a prolific winner. You have to go back over 2 years for his most recent win, but maybe he'll show some gas. I
have to hope that the bug gets the instructions that you're on the inside. This horse doesn't like to win a lot, but you might be the controlling speed. You need to go, just hustle this horse, ride the hair off of him. I think this is... I think it's one you have to use, but knowing full well that, am I going to be stunned if all of a sudden, with a half furlong to go, he comes up, you know, gasping for air? No, but I have to use him. I'm also going to use the 3 Lucky Mark in this spot, the highest last out buyer with a 63. Look, I mean, there's a lot of reasons to like this horse. 10 times from 16 in the exact, and I'm also going to use the 7 Outthink 'em. Those are the only 3 for me in here, all equal weight.
Just seems like those 3 horses are the class of the race, taking a little bit of drops in class, looking for their proper level, and I'm with you. You're using the 1, 3, 7 in equal weight. I'm using the 1 and 3 as A's and the 7 as my backup. The third leg of this wager is at 1 mile and 70 yards, a nice filly and mare optional claiming race. I'm curious to see how you're playing some of these horses that have been running on turf recently.
It's really, this was a tough race for me because I feel like in any of these shorter fields, whether you've got 5 or 6 horse fields, you either really want to spread deep and use as many as you possibly can, or you get really narrow. I only use 2 in here. One of them is an A, one of them is a backup. I decided to go with the speed as the A. So I went with the 3 Fervent Femme. I'm not particularly enamored with her, but at the same time, she's already won on fast dirt, which some of these horses have already proven that dirt is not what they really want. And I think she's going to be out on the front end. I am also going to use Mon Petit. I just think that just overall, the recent form, I know that most recent race, 6 beaten by 2 and change, but from a buyer standpoint, she fits in here well. I'm using the 3 as the main A and the 4 as a backup.
3 is very dangerous because the speed should play extremely well, and you did mention the win on the dirt. Sometimes you just have to say in Hollendorfer, I trust in Northern California. Zippin' Bayou is a horse I'm interested in because I really think that her speed is going to play well on dirt. She's yet to win on dirt, but she's only tried the surface twice, and both of those races were sprinting in Southern California. So I think she's still relatively unexposed on dirt, especially around 2 turns, and I think she's going to sit that trip just off of the speeds in second to try to get the jump on these horses late. I'm going to use Zippin' Bayou, and I'm also going to use your backup, Mon Petit, who has winning form on the dirt, but I just have a feeling is a little bit more effective on the turf. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to use Mon Petit as a backup or an equal weight, but that's how I'm going right now, Zippin' Bayou, Mon Petit.
The most fascinating thing for me about this race is going to be to see how fast Gonzalez goes with the Martin horse, because again, keep in mind, I wonder, so many of these horses, even when you're synthetic, usually the onus is on using your energy late. I want to know, I'm almost curious, if the 3 just tries to break this thing open and tries to put lengths on the field going into the far turn and say, come and catch me, because maybe you don't get that same sort of kick that you normally would over the rubber or over the turf on the dirt.
Speed always important in any race on dirt, and if you can open up a big lead and make these horses try to catch you on a surface, which might not be their best, might be actually a very good move. Finale on Saturday, race number 11, $8,000 maiden claimer, going 6 furlongs. I think we have to start with the number 3, Tune to Win, who's now with Quinn Howie. This horse tried Southern California sprints 3 times, overmatched all 3 times, now finds a really nice spot for 8, I believe.
Way the horse to beat in here. I wouldn't argue with anyone that just singled this horse and said, you know what, much the best. I understand when you look at it at face value, you've got a horse that 3 times has gone out and never been lower than 25 to 1, but you brought it up against much tougher and a much tougher jurisdiction. I'm going to use her as an A. Or
I like
him,
your other A a lot.
I think there's a real chance that Oil Change is the speed of the speed, though, in this spot.
Pick.
You try to break this thing open. I understand maybe you would have hoped to see a little bit of an improvement with the class relief most recently, but I do think there's a real chance that the 8 could be the speed in this spot, and maybe if the 3 can't come and catch you, that's an interesting one. A couple of backups for me, the 6, Toro John. If Oil Change doesn't go, I don't think the 6 is going to be that far off of it, and I'll also use the 9, Holy Clem. Reluctantly, that's more a Cliff de Lima play than anything, because I don't love the debut from this horse, but I have to use it.
Tune to Win's going to be my only A based on the big class drop coming in from Southern California. The 4, Plum Lucky, is my B. This is a barn that has done well at Oak Tree Pleasanton over the years. Plum Lucky is coming off a little bit of a layoff. My concern is maybe this one's going to be a little bit better going longer. It's going to need a race off of the bench. The 1, Tuscan Warrior, is going a turf to dirt. Not a huge fan of Tuscan Warrior, but he's run a couple of races. That 50 Beyer speed figure 3 starts back, but he was with Steve Sherman for that race. I'd use that horse as a very deep backup. So 3A, 4B, 1C for me, and Matt's going 3-8 as A, 6-9 as backups in the final leg of the Late Pick 4, a $30,000 guaranteed Late Pick 4 on Saturday at Oak Tree at Pleasanton, races 8 through 11. We kick things off with a maiden special for 2-year-olds with an approximate post time of 5:25 Pacific. Good luck.